Hello, ladies. Welcome back. And I am going to do two birth chart readings in this video. I'm also going to do a numerology and compatibility analysis on Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber. This video was requested by a few of my followers because I know you all are interested in this couple and this dynamic, and a lot of people covered the both of them. Everyone is saying that he hates her, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I did a divination reading, tarot reading on this couple, Justin and Hailey. And surprise, surprise, they do actually love each other, which is why I was reluctant to do this. However, reading the birth chart gave me way more insight into this dynamic. So if you all felt like this was a karmic entanglement, you are absolutely right because it's right there in the birth chart. As you can see, ladies, this is Justin's birth chart. There are some hard aspects in this chart, which we're going to cover, okay? So we're going to do his birth chart and then we're going to do Hailey's birth chart. And before I say anything, when I read Justin Bieber's energy, first of all, he comes across as very immature to me. He seems very immature. He seems emotionally stunted and wounded. Justin Bieber is fighting, some demons. But, who isn't, right? Which man isn't fighting demons? Because Justin comes across as emotionally stunted and wounded, and everyone thinks he hates his wife. I wanted to see where in his birth chart that supports all of this. Okay, or explains all of this. And, I found it. So as you can see, he has his sun in Pisces, but his Pisces sun conjuncts Saturn. And this is a classic placement for deep internalized pain and emotional inhibition, and most definitely a fear of rejection or failure, even in relationship. Because of this placement, I feel like Justin struggles with self-worth, and it kind of results in a I will reject you before you reject me attitude. There are some people like that, right? Especially when it comes to intimacy. So his moon is in Libra, and when you see this placement, ladies, moon in Libra, this is someone that has people pleaser tendencies, but his moon in Libra squares Uranus and Neptune, which is quite interesting. So this makes Justin comes across as emotionally unpredictable. He's also very idealistic when it comes to love, but he is very rebellious and moody. He definitely needs change, and he needs change often. And he will retreat or lash out when overly stimulated. So this is someone that is not what I would call emotionally mature. And by the way, y'all, Pisces men are literally my least favorite sign in men right after Scorpio. I cannot stand these water sign niggas. I just can't. But I'm glad he's not my man. Okay. His Venus in Pisces is opposite his midheaven. You can see it right here. And this is the thing with a lot of water sign men, in my opinion and experience. They have an unrealistic idea of love in their minds. So, with this aspect, the Venus in Pisces opposite his midheaven, men like this, with this placement, they tend to crave a divine love. Okay, so the love that they crave is not real. But in Justin's case, he feels like love destabilizes his, his public image or his goals, which doesn't make any sense to me, because why would you get married? But then again, it kind of makes sense because, from way back in the day, if an actor or a musician or a singer gets in a relationship or, gets married, it decreases their sexual market value. Women are going to be like, oh, he's not available anymore. Like, they're going to lose some fans. And this is something that has been an issue for many celebrities for years. But those fans are not really real fans anyways. But, some people, and by people, I'm talking about women in this situation, they only liked him because they thought they had a chance with him. Like, they really thought that, he's single, I might have a chance. I know it's delusional, but people are weird, okay? And Justin fans are young. They're not as young anymore because he's been married for a while, okay? But Justin got married in his 20s, I believe. But the thing is, Venus in Pisces is usually a very romantic sign. You know, this placement is romantic, but it's also extremely disillusioned. It can be that, okay, because there's definitely a shadow side, especially if the fantasy doesn't hold. So I feel like, you know, with all of this, all of these placements in his chart, I feel like Justin really had this idea of what love would be, but it was more of to him, it was more like a fantasy. It wasn't real. And because Hailey Bieber is a real human being with real feelings and flaws, I feel like, you know, he resents her for that. And it's right here in the birth chart, okay? So with his Mars in Aquarius squaring Pluto and his North Node, and also conjunct his Mercury, this placement is a sign of deep control issues, anger issues, anger repression, and a subtle need to dominate or sabotage intimacy. And they show it under the guise of detachment. So he comes across as detached. Honestly, I did not know how I didn't realize that Justin Bieber is a water sign. I honestly thought that I used to think he was Aquarius because I remember watching someone's video and they said that he was Aquarius. He's not. Okay. Now that I know this information, everything is making sense to me and everything is falling into place. All right. This placement is also more of a trickster warrior type energy. So, you know, this person can be fiercely defensive, but emotionally evasive. He's not consistent, y'all. He's not emotionally consistent. Like, this is not the type of guy that I would want to be in a relationship with. Okay, so you know, Hailey, she has her hands full. Here's Pluto rising conjuncting the ascendant and the North Node. It's right here. Okay, his life is a deep transformation journey. There is definitely pain, trauma, death, and rebirth with this placement. And this tells me that Justin struggles with not only power, but he struggles with shame and obsessive compulsive dynamic. You know what I mean? Like this is what I'm seeing. And his demons, based on this, the demon he's fighting, y'all, is abandonment and control. He has issues. He is not in control of that relationship and that whatever that situation is. He's not in control. Hailey's the one is in control, and I'll explain to you all later. Because when I looked at the birth chart Sinistry, it all makes sense, right? So he struggles with abandonment and control. And his moon is squaring Uranus. And this signals to me that this person has struggled with early emotional disruption from a young age. And it's usually from a mother or caregiver. So, you know, this person is hypersensitive to abandonment. So he has abandonment issues. I should have read his Wikipedia because I don't know anything about his early life. The only thing that I know about Justin prior to Justin being famous is that he was discovered on YouTube. He was on YouTube singing and playing the piano. Like that's literally the only thing I know. With Pluto on the ascendant, it shows a deep fear of being controlled or powerless. He is constantly trying to control others unconsciously. He's trying to keep Hailey emotionally dependent on him because his behavior is not the type of behavior that a wife would want from a loving husband. This is emotional manipulation. That's what Justin is doing. He's emotionally manipulating Hailey. But don't feel sorry for Hailey so quickly because she's not innocent, y'all. Because I was like, Justin is free to leave if he's not happy. He can leave at any time if he doesn't like his wife. But you know, with this Pisces energy, and there's a lot of water sign and there's a lot of heavy water placements. Like I don't see any fire placements here. You know what I mean? There's like air, Libra, and water, and some earth. There are no fire placements. So this is a very feminine individual. Okay. Justin has a lot of feminine energy. Hailey is a masculine one because Hailey is the one that pursued him relentlessly. I wanted to find out what was it with, his emotional stuntedness, right? Because he does come across as emotionally stunted. But it's like a double whammy, y'all, because not only is he immature, emotionally stunted, this person struggles with delusions in love because at the end of the day, this is Pisces, and Pisces is very idealistic and they tend to be quite delusional. Okay. So, with his Venus in Pisces, it's idealistic, it's soft, it's escapist because they want to escape reality, right? And Justin most likely projects fantasies onto women, and then he gets angry when they don't live up to those fantasies. I talked about this in a previous video about being put on a pedestal, etc., right? I think it was the pedestal to punishment. Y'all, I don't watch over my videos. I have no idea what videos I posted a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Like, y'all, I don't know. But I struggle to go back and watch my videos because I just feel like it's so cringe. I don't like hearing my voice. It's so painful when I have to edit my own videos. You'll have no idea. This shit is not easy. But anyways, but yeah, I feel like he is really angry with her because she did not live up to this fantasy that he had in his head. And his sun conjuncts his Saturn, as you can see, right? And that can make him emotionally cold or withdrawn under pressure. And this placement, this person, they don't feel like they are worth loving, okay? They don't feel like they're worthy of love, so they tend to lash out and self-sabotage. And the square from Moon to Neptune, the square from the square from Moon to Neptune adds confusion, it adds fantasy, especially around emotional needs. And of course, what follows next is usually disillusionment when reality hits. Because it's only so long the honeymoon phase is going to last. But when the reality hits, how does this person handle it? And men with these placements, from my experience, they don't handle it very well. They don't handle reality very well. And I don't like that. So, if you are dating a Pisces man, good luck, girl. Good luck. I feel like with his Mars squaring Pluto, I feel like Justin struggles with misogyny or shame in love. I don't know. That's what is given, okay? Because his anger towards women, and by women, I'm talking about Hailey in this case, because we do not know what he's like towards other women, but all we can see is the dynamic between him and Hailey. And it's given unresolved sexual and emotional trauma. I don't know, like there was a lot of talks about him potentially being a victim of Diddy, so maybe there's something there, but again, that's all alleged. And he did say that he is not a victim. Okay, he did say that, but we do not know what happened. Okay, we can only speculate. But let's stick to the birth chart. Let's not go down the conspiracy theory route. I feel like this placement, this Mars squaring Pluto, I feel like he can be a little bit violent. Like I wouldn't say that he would beat her. Maybe he will push her or throw things or punch a wall or something. Because this placement, these men, they struggle with a deep-seated shame around desire for whatever reason. And his Venus opposite his midheaven, it suggests that his concept of a wife versus career and life purpose is in conflict. Because I feel like he believed that his marriage changed his career or something, or it's negatively affecting his career. I do not know what it is. I also believe that he seeks external validation from other men. And I don't see it here in the birth chart, but I saw it in a video where he was talking about, and he was like, the only reason why I listen to her is because she's my wife. And I feel like when he does that, he is just, to me, it's signaling that he's trying to get validation from the bros. Okay. So that's why I believe that this man is not mature at all. How old is Justin, y'all? So he sees his wife as something that he should want, but not something he really wants. So why does he seems to hate her? Honestly, I don't think he hates her. I think it's all projection. I think he hates himself. because the Venus and Pisces, it wants spiritual, unconditional love. But, when Haley fails to meet this unrealistic ideal, he resents her for being human because his chart, it shows difficulty with intimacy and vulnerability. The Mars, Mercury, Sun in Aquarius and Pluto rising. I mean, it's all there. So even if he loves this woman deeply, I feel like he can't receive it without feeling trapped or judged. He feels trapped in that marriage for whatever reason, but he wouldn't leave. So, I mean, he's still there because he probably feels tricked by his own emotional expectations. And he's definitely lashing out at her when he's really angry at himself for needing to be loved so much. This is a child, y'all. This is a child. So, why doesn't he leave? Here are the likely reasons. The Pluto conjuncting the North Node and the Ascendant. I think it's his karmic path. And his karmic path is to transform through intense relationships. So a lot of people, they were meant to transform through relationships. And this is why we call them karmic relationships. Okay. Even though me and my husband have a very happy marriage, we barely have any fights or anything like that. My marriage is very peaceful. But because I have placements in my eighth house, my relationships are going to be karmic and they're going to be transformative for me and the other person. So the marriage, it definitely feels karmic or even binding spiritually. So I know there's love there, but there's a lot of issues with codependency, control, disillusionment in this marriage. He also has his Sun and Saturn in Pisces right here. And that tells me he believes in long, enduring, suffering love. He believes that you're supposed to struggle. He believes that relationships is supposed to be hard. And he may stay in this relationship out of guilt or obligation. Or maybe he has the belief that real love is supposed to be hard, like I mentioned. But I don't know. Hailey Bieber is making a lot of money. So, she also experienced a lot of transformation in that marriage. And his chart has a lot of tension around public image. He might believe that divorce would be spiritual defeat, especially with someone who has Pisces planet in the fourth house. Okay, because as you can see, the fourth house is ruled by Pisces. So my spiritual interpretation on this karmic marriage, there's definitely soul contracts here, okay? The North Node and Scorpio in the first house, he is meant to transform his identity through ego death and deep intimacy. And this marriage may very well be part of that crucible. His Venus in Pisces, it wants a soulmate. He wants that love, but there's definitely a lot of illusions and codependency and spiritual tests with this placement. The moon in Libra, it contradicts a lot of his placement because the moon in Libra, it seeks harmony, but it does square Uranus, and it definitely shows some sort of tension between being liked and being free. Like he likes the idea of marriage, but somehow he wants his freedom. It's like he wants to have his cake and eat it too. So, I feel like this marriage, this union is meant to show him how to stop sabotaging love. I feel like it's supposed to help him purge illusions around relationship, stop seeing women like if there's some kind of mythical figure. A lot of men are like this, especially these water sign men. And I feel like he's supposed to learn to own his own power without domination or self-abandonment and self-sabotage. So he has a lot of lessons to learn. So, my final thoughts with Pisces men and Scorpio energy, these Pisces men, ladies, they live in a fantasy. They rarely take responsibility and they weaponize emotional sensitivity. They're very emotionally manipulative, y'all. And his Scorpio rising with the Pluto North Node in Scorpio, it makes him very powerful and intense in relationship. And it also makes him, addicted to emotional drama. Even if he claims that he wants peace. This is a type of man that will be like, I don't want drama, blah, blah, blah. But they be the ones that starting the drama and living for the drama. Okay, there's a lot of drama in this relationship. Okay, Justin is emotionally complex because I mean, what else do you expect from a water sign, right? He's very much afraid of deep intimacy, but at the same time obsessed with it. So, this man is constantly at war with his own emotional needs and public image. He is constantly fighting demons around control, shame, vulnerability, and of course that distorted idea of love. So let's move on to Hailey Bieber's chart. Okay, so immediately looking at Hailey's birth chart. By the way, her birth chart time, I do not know how accurate this is, but this is what I found. This is the information I found on another site, and I had to put it in here. But immediately, right off the jump, there is no water sign in Hailey's chart. None. Okay. So Hailey's chart is very fire heavy. There's definitely some earth and air in there. So it's like it's fire and earth heavy. Okay. So it makes perfect sense why she was the one pursuing this man because y'all, the way she pursued this man, girl, it couldn't be me. Could not be me. Even though I'm a fire sign, I am not this masculine. I refuse to be this masculine. However, I just want you all to know that there's nothing wrong if a woman is a little bit masculine. But if you want to see the masculine and feminine dynamics in a relationship, this is it. Okay. Justin's chart is very water heavy. Hailey's chart is very fire heavy. They are not compatible, y'all. They are not compatible. So this is definitely a karmic relationship. Okay. So let's look at Hailey's chart briefly. So as you can see, she has the sun in Sagittarius. Shout out to all my Sagittarius girlies. I love you all. It conjuncts Pluto. And this is not a soft personality, y'all. Hailey's public image is very, very meticulously curated because she wants to come across as this sweet, suffering wife. And, she wants to come across as sweet, but she's not sweet because behind closed doors, this girl, she has a mouth on her. I'm sure she'd be telling this man some things that hurt his feelings. Y'all Sagittarius, y'all know how y'all be. But it's not a soft personality. So despite, her pretty exterior and the model image, she has intense willpower, which explains how she hunted down this man, made sure she put herself in places where she can have access to him. So, and she has strong survival instincts and a very, very deep need for control over not only her image, but her surroundings and relationships. And, the Pluto conjunction, it gives her a magnetic, obsessive, and, sometimes manipulative edge in close relationship. And we've seen it played out. We saw the videos where she was exposed, how she was, tracking and stalking Justin for years. So this woman is not passive at all. She hides her power behind diplomacy and that smile and that, feminine performing image, right? And her moon is in Aries and it opposites Venus in Libra. So her heart and emotions are at odds with, her romantic style. So it creates, emotional volatility, especially in relationships, okay? Because she wants to be adored, she wants to be cherished, but she wants ultimate control. And the moon in Aries is reactive, impulsive, it's childlike in emotional expression, which can be endearing to some people, but, she can be quite impulsive and reactive when she's stressed. She doesn't want to appear vulnerable, but she's easily hurt. So, all the body language with Justin being blatantly disrespectful, it really hurts her feeling. It hurts her, y'all. She feels it, okay? Her ascendant is also Sagittarius. So her first house is ruled by Jupiter. So with this ascendant, she's going to appear bubbly. She's going to appear open. She's also opinionated because, that's Sagittarius energy. But, she has this good girl on the surface image. But that Mercury in Sagittarius it has a calculated edge because she knows exactly what to say to seem agreeable, even when she's not. So when she met Justin, I'm sure she was mirroring him the entire time. She was telling him everything that he wanted to hear. And she came across as, you know what, this is a nice girl. You know, she's pretty. She has the status. She has the Hollywood connection. She seems nice and agreeable. You know what, I can make this girl my wife, you know? So Justin had no idea what he was getting himself into. And, you know, her Mercury square in Mars, it makes her verbally defensive and impatient and very sharp tongue behind closed doors because I know this girl has a mouth on her. Okay, y'all Sagittarius people be out of pocket sometimes. Y'all, her Venus in Libra, it conjuncts Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, by the way. And it also squares Uranus and Neptune. And this is key, y'all, because her Venus is definitely wounded. She's idealistic and prone to fantasy and disillusionment. So, you know, they both have that in common. And she's also prone to sudden changes in love or fear of abandonment, which they both have in common. So, you know, it's very karmic. They both are afraid of abandonment. They both live in a fantasy world when it comes to love. So this is why they're still together. This is why they refuse to leave each other. You know, she also craves approval and she craves harmony and perfection in love. But, you know, with this placement, you know, people with this placement, they tend to replay pains from, you know, rejection and betrayals, you know, it's like a cycle. And with this placement, this is what she's like. She's the type of girl that would try to fix love, okay? But she's also the type of girl that would perform ideal femininity to be chosen. So a lot of things that Justin saw in the beginning was the fantasy that she also projected because she played into that fantasy, which is why he married her because he thought that he was getting this perfect wife who was going to be agreeable and wasn't going to say nothing, was just going to continue to be a fantasy. Like he really thought that that's what he was getting, but she's not. So she's the type of girl that would probably change her entire personality to be picked. She has her Mars and Virgo in the ninth house, and she puts serious efforts into appearing useful. She puts a lot of effort in appearing virtuous and the perfect wife material, and she does that with the public as well, not just with Justin, but you know she is very self-critical and silently judgmental of others. And she's definitely judgmental of her partner's messiness or inconsistency because that inconsistency that we see with Justin, that drives her crazy. And I feel like that is the cause of a lot of tension in their relationship. So let's do the Sinistry analysis. So first of all, Pluto and North Node entanglements. All right, so Justin conjuncts North Node and ascendant. It falls in Hailey's 12th house, which is a huge karmic red flag. So what he does, he triggers her unconscious patterns and her past life wounds and her deep insecurities. He triggers her, okay? You know, so, you know, Hailey's Chiron conjuncting North Node is in Justin's 10th house. So, you know, she represents a wound to his public image and his life path. And yet he feels like he's fated. It looks like he's fated to learn from her. They both have a mutual Moon and Venus pain. You know, so Justin Moon squares Hailey's Neptune and Venus, and he idolized her. He really idolized her. But then he felt disappointed because why? She's real. She's a human being. And now her very presence, it reminds him of what love should be, but it isn't. And this can lead to emotional coldness and passive aggressiveness and even cruelty because he appears really cruel in some of those clips I've seen. He really does, you know. Hailey Moon's opposites Venus plus the moon also squares Neptune. She feels like she's never good enough. She feels like she's always chasing validation. And she probably reads into his moods anxiously, you know? So it's like an anxious attachment. So she knows when he's moody. She can already sense it before they leave the house to go to the events and whatnot. She knows that he is going to perhaps embarrass her in public. She's used to this. And that Mars-Mercury aggression, because both their charts have Mars and Mercury tension. So there's lots of argument, lots of misunderstanding, lots of verbal fights that escalate very quickly, and they probably talk over each other constantly. They are always fighting, y'all. And this is a young couple, and I think they both got married before their Saturn return. So they're going through it. And I feel like after their Saturn return, I feel like that's when that marriage is going to end. I don't think this marriage is going to last, ladies, because Justin Mars, it squares Hailey's ascendant. So he views her as restricting him. Okay. He feels restricted. He feels like he's trapped. He wants to be free. Like he wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to have the perfect wife, but he wants freedom. Make it make sense. And he's very reactive towards her attempts to fix him. Okay. And I'm using fix in air quotes, or guide him. And it leads to resentment and pushback. That time when they showed up at that thing where she was wearing the cute red dress, I looked for the photo. She was wearing the cute red dress, and Justin showed up in a tracksuit. What that told me was that he was rebelling against her, because we knew that Hailey asked him to put on a nice suit and he didn't. It's like she's dealing with a rebellious child. So there's a lot of unconscious power plays in this relationship. Hailey's Pluto, it conjuncts Justin's sun, and it's immensely binding because she has power over his sense of identity. And she may have also, wait a minute, she seduced and influenced him at a very vulnerable time. Now that I'm looking back, I think him and Selena had gotten back together and broken up again. So he was very vulnerable, okay? The Pisces water sign man, with the heavy water sign in the chart, he was extremely emotionally vulnerable. That's how she got him. I'm just in Pluto's on Hailey's South Node, because I'm looking at, their chat. I'm looking at their chat on my iPad, y'all. And if we had exact time, because I'm not sure if this is the exact time. Okay, this is the time that I got on the internet. This placement is given karmic debt. One partner is feeling stuck while the lesson is learned. So the question is, why does he stay? So despite the apparent coldness, emotional disconnect, and immaturity that I see in the body language and stuff like that, and them raggedy ass clips of him basically talking down to his wife, there are multiple spiritual and psychological reasons Justin remains in this relationship. Okay? Number one, most importantly, is definitely karmic entanglement. Okay? And the Pluto and North Node highlights that. Okay? Because the relationship, it feels like it's fate. Okay? They tend to pull away and get drawn back in. So they will stop talking to each other for a little bit, maybe for a few days or a few weeks, or they might even separate, and then they are drawn right back to each other. So it's very karmic. His Venus in Pisces, he once saw her as an angelic redeemer. Like he saw her as the perfect wife. He saw her as his savior at one point in time, because I feel like that's what she played into. And it worked, okay? But, there are consequences, right? And I feel like, he resents her for not saving him emotionally. And I feel like that's the reason why him and Selena didn't work out. But I don't have time to go and read Selena's chat right now, because this video is way already too long, okay? And I also feel like the reason he wouldn't leave is because he carries a lot of guilt. Then let's move on to Hailey. Why does he seem or appear to hate her? Based on what I'm reading here, and based on what I read in the tarot cards, he doesn't hate her. He resents her. He resents her because she's a mirror, and she mirrors his unhealed wounds. Hailey's Venus aspect with Chiron and Pluto and the sun, that energy, it pressures him to grow up. It pressures him to grow up, to take responsibility and behave like a man when he's still emotionally stunted. So he is not showing up as the husband that she thought he was going to be. He's being very childish, very vindictive, very cruel, very moody, very emotionally manipulative. So rather than leave, what he will do is probably withhold affection or act emotionally, and he will punish her. Okay, he's punishing her instead of confronting his demons. So, my final judgment on the both of them is that it's a toxic codependent karmic relationship. It's not based on emotional maturity or deep friendship. Like they're not even friends at this point. Okay, it's all about power, projection, and pain loops. So, ladies, if you want to avoid men like Justin, because I know some of y'all are going to say, may this love never find me. And girl, I couldn't agree more. Ladies, avoid the Pisces or Scorpio men, okay? Avoid them with, especially when they have heavy Pluto on and Neptune aspects. Men with moon squaring Uranus or moon squaring Neptune, men with these placements are emotionally unreliable. Okay, we're back to Justin chart, by the way. Venus and Pisces men who fall in love with the fantasy and resent the reality. This is the type of men that you do not want to deal with. If it's Venus is in Pisces, ladies, run. Okay, most likely he's seeing you as some kind of fantasy, and if you want that relationship to work, you have to maintain that fantasy. You cannot break it. Okay, it cannot be shattered. Okay, these are the type of people that idolize and then punish you when you're not what they thought you were going to be. So instead, what I would suggest is align with Earth dominant men with strong Saturn or Taurus placement, because these men tend to be stable and grounded. Men with healthy Mars, Venus trines, because these men are balanced, masculine and feminine energy. And men whose North Node conjunct your Venus, your sun or your moon, because that's supportive destiny. So I know this video is very long, but you all know I had to do it. I had to do a numerological compatibility analysis. I had to do that, right? So Justin was born on March 1994. He's a life path 9. Hailey Hailey Bieber was born on November 22nd. She's a life path 4. So Justin Bieber, life path 9. This is the humanitarian wounded healer. This is the old soul. And Justin does come across as someone who is definitely an old soul. Like, this is not an empty vessel. There's definitely a soul in there. And the life path 9 is the number of the spiritual artist, the emotional empath and redeemer archetype. It carries deep suffering, compassion, and world weariness. Key traits with this life path number: they are emotionally deep, but often overwhelmed, prone to sacrifice, victim complexes, and escapism, which is definitely Justin. They're romantic, but idealistic and disappointed easily. And they often feel like a chosen one or a misunderstood prophet. And, people with this life path number, men with this life path number, in Justin's case, their shadow side, they can feel used, unappreciated, or empty. They struggle with emotional boundaries, because I'm telling you all, this man is emotionally manipulative. And they attract wounded or manipulative people because they exude empathy and a sort of savior energy. So Justice. So Justin's Pisces Sun and life path 9 is a double empath setup, right? So, he's likely highly intuitive, and I get that from reading his energy. And he's definitely artistically gifted, but emotionally porous. He soaks into other people's pain and confusion, and he easily loses his own identity in relationships, which explains the pushback, right? Because Hailey is very controlling, right? Hailey Bieber is life path 4 or master number 22. So I love number 4s, okay? Like I said in a previous video, I live in a number 4 house, and number 4, it represents order, structure, and responsibility. So that's definitely what Hailey brings to the table. And that's what Justin is rejecting. Hailey needs to take her structure, responsibility, and order elsewhere if she wants to be appreciated, okay? So, the number 22, because she was born on the 22nd, it carries powerful karmic vibration. It basically means that she came into this life with strong will, because when I tell you this woman will is strong, the way that she pursued this man couldn't be me, okay? But she also came here with a spiritual purpose and a mission to build or perhaps influence systems or public perception. All right. So, the key traits with the life path 4 is grounded, discipline, and she does have that wife archetype. She has that archetypal energy. And she definitely seeks control over chaos, especially emotional chaos, which is very relevant here. Hailey is fighting a battle constantly with this man. It's like she's his mother. She's also very ambitious. I mean, she has a makeup line or something like that. She's successful, right? She's ambitious, but she can also be a perfectionist, which can, be an issue for her. And she tends to take more of her fair share of responsibility. And, the shadow side of this for life path in Hailey's case is that, she's overly focused on external image and control. And we see that she can feel very resentful and rigid in personal relationships. And of course, we can see that here. And she may stay in a toxic dynamic much longer. And the reason why she does this is because she's trying to fix or manage others. She cannot fix Justin. When it comes to this numerology compatibility analysis, they have low compatibility by default. But, this union is karmically charged because there's a lot of emotional disconnect here. There's a lot of codependence. Okay, so in summary, this is not a soulmate union. Okay, it's not a soulmate marriage or whatnot. Okay, this is a lot of tension and imbalance. The karmic themes and shadows here is that Justin, he has to confront emotional escapism. He needs to develop boundaries. He needs to develop his identity, and he needs to develop maturity. He has to heal from that deep struggle of abandonment. I do not know why he has that. It shows in his birth chart, as well as, his numerology analysis. And Hailey, she has to learn that control is not safety. It doesn't equal safety. She has to relax and let go because you cannot build a relationship where the other partner won't participate. It's draining. Like it's a waste of time and energy. She has this habit of overfunctioning, especially when it comes to love. She's doing a lot. So even though they're not compatible, they are very much drawn to each other. And I really do believe that they love each other. I think that if they break up, they are going to remain friends. This is the emotional idealist versus the reluctant caretaker. Because Hailey is basically his caretaker. She's trying to help him. She's trying to change him. She's trying to basically raise him. This is like the wounded child meets parent dynamic. This is not a healthy relationship for her. And I don't wish this type of relationship on no woman. Because this is a type of relationship that will age you quickly. This is a type of relationship that is going to cause imbalance in your chakras. This is a type of relationship that is spiritually and energetically draining. Okay, this is not numerological compatible or astrological compatibility for long term, but they are karmically magnetized to learn very hard lessons from each other. And with that being said, because I think I'm done here, guys, let me put my notes away. What people are seeing, the body language, and people are saying that he hates her and whatnot, people are not imagining things, all right? Because I saw those videos and I was like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like my jaw was on the floor after I saw some of those videos. So you can imagine my confusion when I did the tarot reading, and the tarot basically told me that they love each other. And I was like, listen, the tarot doesn't lie. But sometimes I'd be like, bitch, what are you trying to tell me? Because this doesn't make any sense. Y'all, I cleansed my deck, y'all, and I didn't even bother to do a second reading because I'm gonna go by what the card says. However, doing this reading, doing the numerological reading and the astrological reading, everything makes sense. They do not hate each other, but there's definitely a lot of resentment and a lot of issues in this relationship. Before I go, how old? Y'all know I can't do math, okay? So if Justin was born in 1994, how old is he now? Y'all, I am so embarrassed. I'm putting out my calculator to do this thing. Don't judge me, okay? So he's 31 years old. He probably just completed his Saturn return. And Hailey, who is 2 years younger than him, so Hailey's like 29 years old, she either just entered her Saturn return or she's maybe already in the middle of her Saturn return. So both of them are going through a lot. They're going through a lot, guys. Okay. So they love each other, but they're going through a lot. They're both going through their Saturn return. They both have a lot of karmic debt. They have a lot of karmic lessons to learn. I don't think he hates her, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to be treated like that in a relationship. Nobody wants to experience that in a relationship. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that some people have to experience these things so that they can grow. Who would you be without your trauma? Think about it. Who would you be if you hadn't dated that guy that traumatize you, right? So we go through these lessons in life so that we can learn and we can grow and become who we are today. And because a lot of us been through similar situations when it comes to relationship, and we see it playing out between Justin and Haley, we like, oh, this is not good. He hates her. He doesn't love her. Blah blah blah. Why is she with him? Why is he treating her like this? Why does he hate her? Yeah, it doesn't look good from our point of view, but it's just two people who want to love each other. They want to make it work, but it's not working because they're going through a lot and they have a lot of karmic lessons to learn. So that's all I have to say, y'all. And let me know what you think about this reading. I would like some feedback. If you are listening up to this point, please leave a comment and let me know if you enjoyed this reading and let me know who you would want me to do next. Okay? Thanks for listening.